Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, I wanted to go back to the basics and do another Q&A. I know I do these all the time, but I actually think they're like a great way to get to know you guys more and to actually make sure I'm talking about things that you are interested in hearing or learning about. So let's just get right into the questions. If you didn't know, I work for myself. I blog full-time, and the YouTube is just something I do for fun as a little bit of an extension of my blog. And the question is, what is the best and worst part about my job? The best, in my opinion, is definitely getting to meet you guys. I feel like that alone is such a dream opportunity, and I've been able to meet so many incredible people, whether you're in high school and you are, going along this path to applying to college and you feel stressed out, or you're working and you reach out to me because you love my blog and you have an amazing opportunity. It's been so amazing for me to meet all of you guys from around the world. It blows my mind how many of you guys there are, and everyone is so nice and friendly, and I always learn something new, just even if we're passing each other on the street and you say hi. The worst part of my job, I think, is dealing with criticism. I wish it was something I was better at, and I've definitely gotten a little bit more of a thicker skin over the years, but it still affects me from time to time, and I wish that wasn't the case, but that is the truth. I do get questions from people on how to deal with that, and I wish I had a great answer, but for me, trying to ignore it as much as possible is going to do the most, but sometimes that isn't always feasible, or sometimes you see something and then you can't unsee it. But just try to remember that for every one mean or not so nice comment, there are hundreds of nicer ones out there. Even if you're not hearing from people, consider that a nice thing. They don't have anything to complain about, and try to focus on the good and ignore the bad. So this question is about how to become a morning person. I think people are naturally night owls or morning people, but even if you are naturally something, I think you can incorporate different things into your life that can make you more of a morning person, or if you need to stay up late for work or something, you can adjust some things to make yourself more acclimated for that particular thing. I am definitely a morning person. The minute my feet hit the floor, I am ready to go. There are still days when I want to stay in bed or feel a little bit lazy, or it maybe takes me a little bit longer to get fully awake. And for me, getting out of bed right away and not clicking snooze ever. I have friends who set like 15 alarms because they know that they can just keep hitting snooze, and that when their last alarm goes off, that's when they really need to get out of bed. For me, that just means I'm not actually getting good sleep. I'm just annoyed and hitting the snooze button. So not clicking snooze, not even giving yourself that option. Set your alarm for the time when you actually need to wake up so you do get out of bed, and then do something immediately. For me, that's walking the dogs. They have to go out, so I just quickly get them outside, and that's a good way to get my blood flowing. For you, that might mean, hopping in the shower right away, or saying that you're going to meditate for 10 minutes, but just have something on your schedule that you're going to do the minute you wake up, so you can kind of get your brain going and get your body and blood pumping. So this question is about tips for working from home. I could probably write an entire book or do an entire YouTube series on how to work from home. But the truth is, it's going to look and be different for everybody. Everyone has a different setup in their home. Some people have, different industries. It's going to look different for everyone. So I think the first tip I have is to figure out what works for you and in your environment and for your industry. I have a ton of flexibility. Not only do I work from home, I also work for myself. So there are no set working hours. But for me, I figured out that I work really well in the morning doing kind of stuff that I really need to be laser focused for. And so when I get up, now I'm getting up around 7 with the dogs, and I'll immediately sit down and start answering emails, because I know that's when my brain is at its sharpest. And a lot of times answering emails for me are super detail oriented. So I want to make sure I'm super awake when I'm answering my emails. That's what I do right when I get up. And I'll do that until about noon. And then I also know that in the afternoon, I start to hit a lull. So that's when I'll run errands, which is great because there's less traffic and fewer crowds in the stores. So then at night I get another burst of energy and I'm ready to sit back down and get back to work. So after I eat dinner, I'll sit down and just crank out more work. That's usually for me between 6 and about 9 to 10, depending on how much work I have for the day / how much I got done that morning. And that's kind of how I set up my days when I'm working by myself. But then I have other days where my photographer's coming out and those are gonna look completely different and our schedule's gonna change depending on what I need to shoot for the day, or maybe I'm in the city and I have meetings. But when I'm working from home, I try to make sure that I take a shower, that I get dressed. I might not be wearing a full business suit. Actually, I'm never wearing a full business suit or putting on a full face of makeup, maybe not even blow drying my hair, but I make sure I'm, out of the shower, I have regular clothes on, and that I'm sitting down, like kind of ready to focus. I always like putting on background music or noise, or I'll put on a Spotify playlist if I really want to be hyper focused, but sometimes my apartment can feel super quiet if it's just me. Over the past year, I've spent a lot of time in Hoboken, New Jersey, and the funny thing is when I lived in New York, I went to Hoboken one time and loved it, but never went back. I don't know why, it's so easy to get to from the city, but I'm dating someone there now, and I've really been able to discover and explore Hoboken a little bit more, and there are so many great little restaurants and little spots, and they have this beautiful pier where it overlooks the whole city of Manhattan. It's amazing. But I think my favorite spot is this restaurant called Anthony David's. The menu is ridiculously good. It's super cozy. It has this very old school vibe, but the food itself is amazing. So I highly recommend going there. Actually, one of my mom's friends from Tampa was just in Hoboken with her son. She texted me for recommendations and I made sure that that was #1 on their list of places to go. As far as accessories go, the question was about what do I think is the most essential accessory to own or to buy. I'm not sure if there's one good answer for this. I think this is something that it's going to be personal to you. So, if you have a really high-powered job or a great internship, maybe that accessory is a work tote that you can carry all your stuff and look really professional with. For me, what would I say my best accessory? I'm more of a practical girl, honestly. Like, I could do without the accessories. Give me a comfortable pair of ballet flats and I'm good to go. I don't really like spending a lot of money on handbags. I think it's a waste of money, especially if they're super trendy and they'll go out of style in like 2 years. So I guess my answer is to invest in accessories that you will be able to carry for a while, and that might not mean the most expensive accessory on the planet, but spending $100 on a Longchamp bag that you're gonna be able to carry for a decade, which I've done. That's in one of my favorite videos, which I'll link above. Or, shoes that you feel really comfortable in and that you can wear with a bunch of different outfits. I think for me, it's more about investing in really practical, useful, well-made items. Okay, this question was a little long and I think we're including screenshots, so it'll be right here if you want to read the whole thing. Just click pause. But the basic idea is how to make your college experience the best, even if it's not a typical experience. And I've shared a little bit over time, but my college experience was far from normal. I wasn't, going out and partying all the time. I was a student athlete. I was struggling with some mental health issues and anxiety issues and struggling academically. Didn't love my college experience, and it wasn't what I thought college would be like. And there are things that I wish I had known looking back. It's fine if your college experience isn't what you imagined. It's really what you make of it. And just because you're not doing what everyone else is doing doesn't mean you're not having a college experience. That's just your experience. I wish I had ventured off of campus more and gotten involved more in the community that wasn't necessarily tied directly to college or to the university life. My senior year, I was making friends with people who were working in the district and trying to volunteer with places that didn't have a direct tie to Georgetown. And that kind of opened up my horizons. And college is only 4 years of your life. The real world is for the rest of your life. So if you get a head start on meeting people around the city or volunteering, or maybe you have a job, that's amazing. And just because it's not what's a typical college experience doesn't mean it's any less valuable. In fact, if that's what is best for you, that means it's the best experience that you could possibly be doing. I love this question too. It's what advice would I give myself as a junior in high school? So I was about 17. There was all this pressure on applying to college. We actually, in my family, we called it the C word, and the C word was college. We didn't want to talk about it. You know, I didn't want people to ask me where I was going or where I was applying or where I wanted to go because I just found it so all-consuming and stressful. And looking back, I wish I could just tell myself that it all works out and it's not something that you really need to make a big stress or a big fuss over. You know, maybe you don't get into your dream college, but the college that you get into is going to be the best experience for you because your experience is what you're going to make of it. And it's not this end all be all, you need to get into the absolute best college. You know, it's what's the best college for you. So I wish I had stressed a little bit less about that and realized, okay, it's all gonna work out. I'm doing my best in school. I'm studying for the SATs the best that I can, and it'll all work out in the end. And I also wish I had told myself to feel less guilty about taking fewer AP classes. My high school was super, super competitive with AP classes. So if you weren't taking all 8 of your classes that you could possibly take as AP, or you weren't taking, college credits down at the local community college, or you weren't taking online classes on the weekends and summers, you weren't competitive. Well, I ended up going to the same school as our valedictorian who slaved away on extra college courses and taking all these AP classes. And I took as many AP classes as I could fit into my schedule while also letting me take the electives that I wanted to take. And looking back, my favorite memories from high school all come from those electives. I took journalism, I was on the yearbook staff for 4 years, I was in chorus for 4 years, and those memories, whether it was a chorus trip or a chorus performance or staying late after school to work on the yearbook, those are the best memories that I have from high school. So it's not necessarily about taking all the classes you could possibly take. It is about having a great experience, and I actually think that having those electives and being super involved, I was an editor on the yearbook and I was a officer in the chorus and had responsibilities in the chorus and performance experience under my belt. Having that on my resume, I think actually helped me stand out among the people who had just taken all AP classes and were kind of robotic in their academics. So I wish I'd felt less guilty about that because I think it actually was important that I did that for myself. Okay, I included this question, what was my favorite candle scent? Because I'm obsessed with candles and I really can't get enough of them right now. It has been one of the ways I'm trying to help myself survive the winter, and having candles lit around my apartment just makes me a happy girl. I have a few, I can't just pick one favorite. The brand Nest Fragrances makes amazing candles. I don't think you can go wrong with any of theirs, and their holiday candles are ridiculously good. Right now I'm burning this big pot of one called Spruce, I think it is. It's like a really wintry smell. And then for Christmas, I got a candle from Henry Bendel, and it's the champagne scent. So nice and amazing. I can't wait to start burning that. I also got a candle that my mom uses all the time, and the girl had no idea. And when I opened the box, it smelled like my home in Florida, and it brought back all these memories, and I felt like my heart swell. It made me feel so good. And that is Red Currants. Can't remember the brand, but it's a red currant candle. And then Bath & Body Works. Their candles are so good and they have amazing sales, so you could really stock up on them. Right now I'm burning like a hot cocoa one, I think, a winter one. I love their leaves one in the fall. Yeah, I can't pick a favorite. I just love all the candles. So I talked a little bit about my college experience, about it being a little atypical, and I talked about being stressed about going to college and high school in this video. This question is, what do I think was the most valuable part about going to Georgetown? And this might not be the most PC answer. For me, being able to say that I went to Georgetown post-graduation has actually probably been the most valuable part of it. Yes, I met amazing people. Yes, I learned incredible things in the classroom. I had the best professors, in the country a lot of times. But it's only 4 years of your life. So now that I've graduated, if I find someone who's wearing a Georgetown sweatshirt, or if I'm working with the company and the person that I'm working with went to Georgetown, we have this instant connection. And it's not necessarily to be able to say that I went to this name brand school and Georgetown has a great reputation. It's more about being able to connect with the alumni that went there. And that is a great resource when you're applying for jobs and internships and, looking to meet people in a city that you just moved to. that is so invaluable. And if you're looking for colleges, definitely make sure you bring that up on the tour or when you're interviewing students that go there currently. Ask them what the alumni network is like. Ask them what the involvement is like. Ask them if people are donating back to the university after they've graduated. Those are all good indicators that the alumni network is strong and that it's something that you'll be able to use after you've graduated. Last question, this is about my 2018 travel bucket list. I have 3 places in the immediate future would love to go to. I have 0 plans to go to there right now, but it's on my mind to try to make happen. The first is Seattle. I have no idea why, but I feel like I just will love Seattle. There's something about it that's calling my name. I definitely want to go to Switzerland. I've had friends go there in the summer and the winter, and both times look incredible. It just looks like an absolute magical place. And the third is Italy. I went there as an 8th grader with my middle school. We went on a field trip that was very Lizzie McGuire movie, minus the whole twinning with celebrity. I definitely want to go back because I'm not sure I took the most advantage of the trip as a 13-year-old, and there's places that I haven't gone or haven't visited or would like to revisit. And then for the second part of the question, it's about how you cross things off a travel bucket list. I think there are people who are innately great travelers and they're just constantly on the go. I'm not one of those people. Traveling kind of stresses me out, and I really take a lot of time to plan the trips. I can't just pack a bag and then hop on a plane and go. I like an itinerary. I like to know what I'm getting myself into. I like to plan because it's less expensive when you can plan out in the future. And I like to make sure that I'm not taking traveling for granted. You know, I don't want to go on a million trips where they all start to blend together in my head. I want to do 1 or 2 amazing trips where I feel like I'm getting the most out of it and that it's a special experience. Last year, for example, I went to Paris, and that was a huge trip that I'm so grateful for, among other smaller trips, and I visited places again. But I want to make sure that when I'm traveling, I'm getting the most out of the experience and that, you know, I'm doing it with conviction, and I'm making sure that I'm taking full advantage of the whole trip and not just willy-nilly going to some place so I can cross it off my list. I really want to enjoy the experience, and I hopefully have a long life to cross more places off my list. Okay, guys, thanks so much for sending your questions over to me to answer. I'm sure I'll be doing more Q&As in the future. I just love these types of videos. If you liked this one, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you have a follow-up question, feel free to leave it in a comment below. I try to answer as many of them as I can as I see them rolling in. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. There is something like horrifying about just staring into this little thing.